Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, it's never enough? Like you're running a race you didn't sign up for, chasing a version of success, happiness, or perfection that always stays just out of reach? If you've ever caught yourself wondering, why am I still not where I'm supposed to be? Then you need to hear this, because what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is a lie you've been silently believing for years, a lie so dangerous it almost destroyed me? And the truth is, you might be living it too. I'm going to share something today that most people won't tell you. Not your friends, not your family, not the world around you. In fact, everything you scroll past on your phone, everything you hear in casual conversations, and everything you've been taught growing up carefully hides this lie in plain sight. And the reason it's so dangerous is because it feels normal. It feels like this is just the way life is. But deep down, you feel it eating away at you, quietly, slowly, a weight you carry without even realizing it. I'm not here to sell you feel, good phrases or empty promises. I'm here to help you wake up to something that might be silently sabotaging your peace, your purpose, and your happiness. And here's the deal: if you stay with me until the end of this video, you're going to see that lie clearly for what it is. Not only that, you'll walk away with the kind of mindset shift that could literally change how you wake up tomorrow, how you feel about yourself, and how you face everything life throws at you. That's not a claim. That's a promise. See, human psychology is wired in a way that we often accept the things we hear the most, even if they aren't true. That's how beliefs are formed. When a message is repeated enough, your mind begins to adopt it as reality. And here's where it gets dangerous. Some of those beliefs aren't yours. They were handed to you, planted in your mind when you were too young, too distracted, or too exhausted to question them. And without realizing it, you started living your life based on rules you never agreed to. Running a race you didn't choose. You probably know what I'm talking about. That little voice in your head that tells you you should be further ahead by now, that you should have it all figured out, that if you're not constantly grinding, achieving, and winning, you're falling behind. It tells you that unless you're shining, you're invisible, and unless you're perfect, you're failing. This voice isn't yours. It never was. It's a product of a world obsessed with appearances, a culture that celebrates the finish line but ignores the fight it took to get there. And if you're not careful, this lie will have you believing that your worth depends on your results, your progress, your success, and nothing else. I believed it too. For years, I chased what I thought would finally make me enough. More money, more recognition, more approval, and every time I reached one goal it felt good. For about 5 minutes, then that empty feeling crept back in. The pressure returned, the voice got louder. You better do more, you better be more, and here's the cruel part: no one ever tells you to stop, because the world benefits from people who doubt themselves, people who overwork, overspend, overthink, people who stay stuck chasing things they don't even want, just to feel worthy. It benefits the system to keep you distracted, chasing, endlessly unsatisfied. That's how it keeps you quiet. That's how it keeps you controlled. But not anymore, because the first step to breaking out of this is seeing it, naming it, recognizing it for what it is: a lie, a dangerous, exhausting, soul-draining lie, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. The truth is, you were never meant to be perfect. You were never designed to have everything figured out by a certain age. There is no invisible scoreboard keeping track of your worth. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are a human being, figuring things out, living, growing, stumbling, rising again, and that alone makes you enough. Psychologists call this toxic perfectionism, a mindset where your value is tied entirely to outcomes. It breeds anxiety, burnout, and depression. It makes people afraid to take risks, to fail, to rest, to say no. And the worst part, most people don't even know they're trapped inside it. But once you realize it, you get your power back. I want you to stay with me, because what comes next in this video isn't just some pep talk. It's the exact realization that changed everything for me, and I know it can change everything for you too. The moment you understand where this lie came from, why it spread so easily, and how to finally let it go, that's when your life stops being a race and starts becoming your own. And I promise you, it feels nothing like the constant pressure you've been carrying. So before you click away, ask yourself this: what if today is the day you stop believing the one thing that's been quietly breaking you? What if everything you thought was missing was already inside you, waiting for you to see it? Stick around because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what that lie is and, more importantly, how to finally break free from it. The dangerous lie is this: you are only as good as what you achieve, and if you haven't made it yet, you don't matter. It sounds simple, almost harmless. But it's everywhere. It's in the way people talk about success. It's in the way society praises those at the top and quietly ignores those still trying. It's hidden in those small moments when someone asks you, "What do you do?" And you hesitate because what you do doesn't sound impressive enough. It's in that sinking feeling when you scroll through your phone and see people younger than you driving better cars, living in bigger homes, or achieving things you thought you'd have by now. Without even realizing it, this belief creeps into your mind and makes you measure your entire existence based on your results, not your heart, not your character, not the kindness you show, or the battles you silently fight, or the way you lift others up when no one's watching. It convinces you that if you're not winning by the world's standards, you're losing. But here's the truth: no one tells you most people who look like they're winning are fighting battles you'll never see. The highlight reels you scroll through are carefully chosen moments, snapshots designed to impress, not to reveal reality. No one posts about their self, doubt at 2 a.m. No one brags about the days when they feel lost, confused, or broken. Yet those days exist for everyone. Human psychology is shaped by comparison. Our minds are wired to look around and measure ourselves against others. It's a survival instinct from generations ago, when fitting into the group meant survival. But now, in a world of endless images, endless updates, and endless opinions, that instinct has turned against us. It traps us in a cycle of constantly feeling less than, even when we're doing just fine. This lie makes you ignore your own progress. It blinds you to the quiet victories, like getting up when you didn't feel like it, like pushing through heartbreak, like starting again when everything fell apart. The world won't clap for those moments, but those are the ones that build you. You see, chasing achievements for validation is like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It might feel like relief at first, but the more you consume, the emptier you become. Because no amount of external success can fill the emptiness created by self-doubt, and no title, no trophy, no number in a bank account can replace the peace that comes from knowing you are enough as you are. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill, the endless cycle of chasing happiness through external rewards. You achieve one thing, feel good for a moment, then return to your baseline of dissatisfaction. And so you chase the next thing, and the next. It's why people with everything often feel like they have nothing, because they believed the lie that their worth was outside themselves. I believed it, and it nearly broke me. It wasn't the failure that hurt me most, it was the belief that my failure meant I was a failure, that missing a goal meant I didn't matter, that not being the best meant I was invisible. It's a dark place to live in, and what makes it worse is how normal it feels, because almost everyone around you is doing the same thing, comparing, competing, pretending. But here's what I need you to hear: you are not your achievements. You are not your mistakes. You are not your bank account, your follower count, or the number of people clapping for you. You are a soul, a story in progress, a person with infinite value that no failure can reduce and no success can increase. And the second you start to believe this, something incredible happens. The weight begins to lift. You stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. You stop trying to impress people who don't matter and start showing up for the people who do. You stop tying your peace to outcomes and start finding it in the simple, honest, beautiful act of being alive. Life was never meant to be a competition. It was meant to be a journey, your journey, one that won't look like anyone else's because it was never supposed to. The dangerous lie wants you to fit a mold. The truth wants you to break it. You were not born to be ordinary. You were born to be real, to fail sometimes, to rise again, to find your own definition of what makes a life worth living. And the moment you stop letting society tell you what matters, you discover what actually does. Because at the end of your life, it won't be the numbers, the awards, or the titles people remember. It'll be how you made them feel. How you lived when no one was watching, how you overcame, how you stayed kind, how you stayed strong. You are not a product. You are not a number. You are not a performance. You are a living, breathing, resilient, beautiful, imperfect human being. And that in every possible way is more than enough. The lie wants you to forget that. I'm here to remind you, stay with me, because the truth gets clearer and the freedom gets closer. It's easy to underestimate how quietly a belief like this can poison your life. It doesn't strike all at once. It sneaks in little by little. It shows up in small habits, subtle thoughts, and decisions you barely notice. And before you realize it, it's shaped the way you see yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you respond to every situation you face. You start playing small, not because you aren't capable, but because deep down you've accepted a story about yourself that was never yours to begin with. That dangerous story says you have to constantly prove yourself, that you have to earn love, that rest is weakness, that struggle means you're failing, and little by little you stop trusting yourself, you stop believing in your own voice. One of the most damaging effects of this mindset is how it creates invisible walls around your potential. It convinces you that you're not allowed to dream too big, to speak too boldly, or to want too much. It keeps you shrinking yourself to fit in. It makes you second, guess your talents, and it convinces you that your opinions aren't valuable until they're validated by someone else. This lie turns people into spectators in their own lives, watching others live loudly while they sit quietly, convincing themselves it's safer that way, safer to avoid judgment, safer to stay unnoticed, safer not to try, because if you don't try, you can't fail. But the truth is that safety is an illusion. Avoiding risk, avoiding discomfort, avoiding effort, that's the fastest way to a life filled with regret. And regret is heavier than failure. It lingers longer, it hurts deeper, because you'll never know what you are truly capable of if you spend your life avoiding the very things that could make you stronger. Psychologists have a term for this learned helplessness. It's a state of mind where people stop trying because they believe their actions don't matter, that no matter what they do, the outcome won't change. It's one of the most dangerous mental prisons a person can fall into. And it's built not by failure, but by the belief that failure defines you. But here's the truth you need to hear right now. You are not powerless. You are not stuck, and the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't as wide as you think. The greatest changes in life don't happen in huge, dramatic moments. They happen in quiet decisions. In the simple, everyday choices to show up, to try again, to speak up, to take one more step when everything in you wants to quit. Every time you push back against that lie, even a little, you weaken its hold on you. Every time you tell yourself, I matter, even if no one sees it yet, you get stronger, and over time, those small moments of courage stack up. They build a foundation inside you that no one can take away. Not failure, not rejection, not the world's opinions, because the truth is, you were built for more than survival. You were built for meaning. You were built to impact others in ways you may never fully see. And every single person you admire, every story that inspires you, every life that's left a mark, they all began with someone who refused to believe they were powerless. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when you're scared. It's about learning to carry the doubt, the worry, the uncertainty, and taking the next step anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what matters more than fear. And what should matter most is your peace, your growth, your purpose, not perfection, not applause, not meeting someone else's expectations. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who kept moving, who kept learning, who refused to let temporary losses become permanent labels. You are allowed to be a beginner, you're allowed to take your time, you're allowed to struggle. You're allowed to not have it all figured out, and you're still worthy, still valuable, still capable of incredible things. Stop waiting for some invisible permission to take your life seriously, to bet on yourself, to trust your own instincts. The people you admire aren't smarter than you. They just decided their dreams mattered enough to pursue them, even when it was hard, even when no one understood, even when the road felt endless. And you can make that decision too, not next year, not next month, not when you feel ready, right now, in this moment, because you will never be more ready than you are when you finally get sick of the weight of living small. This is where you reclaim your voice. This is where you stop measuring yourself against a version of life that was never meant for you. This is where you finally decide to matter to yourself and let that be enough. Because the greatest prison is the one you don't realize you're in. And the moment you see those bars for what they are, lies, doubts, fear, and conditioning, you have the power to break them. It's never too late to start again. It's never too late to rewrite the story you've been told, and no matter how far you feel from the life you want, the next decision you make can bring you one step closer. You owe yourself that, not because you've earned it. Not because you've proven yourself, but because you exist, and your existence alone is reason enough to rise. There's something you need to realize, and once you do, it changes everything. Most of the limitations you believe about yourself were never yours to begin with. They were passed down to you, planted in your mind by people who were scared, by a society obsessed with labels, and by a culture that convinces you to shrink so you'll stay easy to control. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself. You didn't start life afraid to dream, afraid to fall, afraid to stand out. That came later. It came when people told you to be realistic, when you were made to believe that wanting more was greedy. When every failure was treated like a verdict, not a lesson, little by little you absorbed these beliefs, not because they were true, but because you didn't know you were allowed to question them. The human mind is powerful, but it's also vulnerable. It believes what it hears often enough. Repetition shapes identity. That's how fear spreads. That's how doubt becomes normal. You hear the same thing over and over: you're not enough. You should have more by now. You're falling behind, and eventually you accept it as fact. But here's the truth. You don't have to carry other people's fears. You don't have to live under their expectations. And you certainly don't have to fit into the tiny version of life they settled for. You have one life, one shot at this, and if you waste it trying to satisfy people who don't even know the weight you carry, you'll regret it. Deeply. Most people play small because they're afraid of being judged. They avoid standing out because they fear criticism. But what they don't realize is that the people judging them aren't free themselves. They're trapped in their own insecurities, projecting their limits onto others. Their opinions aren't truth. They're reflections of their own fears. And if you let those opinions guide your choices, you'll never experience what you're truly capable of. You'll never know what it feels like to wake up proud of the person you're becoming. Not because you've arrived, but because you're no longer pretending to be someone you're not. The most dangerous thing you can do is stay in a life that doesn't fit you just because it's familiar. Comfort zones feel safe, but they slowly suffocate your spirit. They convince you that struggle is something to avoid, but struggle isn't your enemy, comfort is, because nothing of value grows there. Growth is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to feel uncertain. That's how you know it's working. If everything in your life feels easy and predictable, it means you've stopped reaching, you've stopped risking, and you've started settling. And if you've been settling, it's not your fault. The world teaches us to survive, not to live fully. It praises safety, routine, and obedience. It warns against chasing passion, against taking bold steps, against trusting your own voice. But what the world doesn't tell you is that every person who changed their life, every person you admire, every story that inspired you, started by stepping into the unknown, by doing the thing they were warned not to do. And here's the secret. It's not as terrifying as you think. The fear is loud at the start, but it fades. What replaces it is clarity, strength, and a quiet kind of confidence that only comes from knowing you're no longer hiding. Because when you stop letting fear dictate your choices, your world expands, new opportunities show up, new people enter your life, new sides of yourself wake up, sides you didn't even know existed. You discover that your resilience runs deeper than you ever imagined, that you can survive rejection, that you can outlast setbacks, that you can begin again as many times as it takes. The human spirit was built to endure. It was built to rise, to rebuild, to evolve, but you have to give yourself permission. No one is going to hand it to you, no one is coming to save you, and that's not a tragedy, it's a gift, because it means you're in control now. It means the moment you decide to stop living by someone else's rules, you win. And yes, people will talk, they always do. No matter what you do, there will be those who doubt you, who mock you, who try to minimize your progress. Let them. Their words don't matter, their approval isn't needed. What matters is how you feel when you lay your head down at night, whether you're proud of how you showed up, whether you honored your own soul. Whether you chose courage over comfort, you'll find that life isn't about the destination. It's about who you become along the way. It's about how you handle the storms, how you carry yourself through the dark seasons, how you celebrate the small wins no one else notices. It's about choosing to live in such a way that, at the end of it all, you can look back without regret. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait to be ready. Don't wait until the fear disappears. It won't. Not completely, but you can move anyway. You can act anyway. And when you do, you'll realize something incredible you were capable all along. Most people don't realize how often they trade their future for temporary comfort. They silence their potential just to avoid feeling awkward, uncertain, or misunderstood for a little while. It happens in moments so small, so ordinary, you don't even notice it. You get a spark of an idea, and instead of chasing it, you talk yourself out of it. You feel the urge to speak up, but you stay silent, afraid of what people might think. You imagine a different version of your life, and then convince yourself it's too risky, too unrealistic, too late. And that's how the cycle continues, not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is wired to protect you from discomfort. Human psychology has a built-in survival mechanism. It pulls you toward what's familiar and pushes you away from what feels dangerous, even if that danger is only imagined. That's why you resist change. That's why you hesitate. That's why you find yourself stuck in the same patterns, replaying the same days, wishing things would be different while repeating the same habits. But if you want a life that feels different, you have to start choosing differently. You have to learn how to interrupt those automatic thoughts, to stop accepting every fear, every doubt, every excuse your mind offers you as truth, because most of them aren't, they're just noise, leftover programming from years of staying small. Your mind will always look for the easy way out. It will always suggest the comfortable option, but growth lives in discomfort, progress lives in challenge. And every person you've ever admired, every story of greatness you've ever heard was written by someone who got comfortable being uncomfortable, someone who was willing to be misunderstood, willing to be doubted, willing to be alone if that's what it took to stay true to their path. It's not about being fearless. No one is fearless. It's about recognizing the fear and deciding that your future matters more, that your peace, your freedom, your purpose are worth more than temporary discomfort. And here's the reality: no one is coming to push you, no one is going to drag you out of bed early in the morning, no one is going to take your phone out of your hand and tell you to focus, no one is going to fix your habits, your mindset, your excuses. That responsibility is yours. It always has been, and while that might feel heavy at first, it's actually the most freeing truth there is, because it means you don't have to wait for anyone. You can decide right now to become the person your future needs you to be. The version of you that reaches your goals, builds that life, creates that peace. They don't arrive by accident. They're built, decision by decision, day by day, in the moments no one is watching, when you choose to get up anyway, when you choose to stay focused anyway, when you choose to give your best effort even when no one's clapping for you. That's where real change happens. Most people overestimate what can be achieved in a day and underestimate what can be built in a year. You won't see transformation overnight, but you will start to feel it. The first time you say no to an old habit, the first time you replace a complaint with action, the first time you refuse to let a setback define you. Those moments count, they matter, they stack up, and eventually they become your new normal. The same way fear became your default, strength can become your default too. Confidence can be learned, discipline can be built. Resilience can be trained, but only if you're willing to stop waiting for motivation and start acting out of commitment. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. They come and go. Commitment is a decision. It's waking up every day and choosing your future, whether you feel like it or not, because you'll never regret the work you put in on yourself. You'll never regret the time spent getting stronger, wiser, more focused. But you will regret every moment you spent talking yourself out of the life you wanted because it was inconvenient or scary. Nothing worth having comes easy, and if it did, it wouldn't mean anything. It's the fight, the grind, the sacrifice that makes the victory taste sweet. It's knowing you faced the fear, endured the loneliness, overcame the doubt, and still moved forward. So stop handing your life over to hesitation. Stop letting temporary feelings decide your permanent future. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You need one decision, one moment where you say, I'm done with this version of me. I'm building something better. And then you honor that decision. Every single day, especially on the days it's hard, because that's how people rise, not in giant leaps, but in tiny, consistent steps, in quiet mornings, in tough conversations with yourself, in choosing discipline over distraction, and in believing even when no one else does that you are meant for more. It's already inside you. You just have to choose it. There's a silent war happening inside every person, a battle between who you are right now and who you could become, and the truth is, most people lose this fight long before it even starts, not because they lack strength, not because they're incapable, but because they don't realize how powerful the small, invisible choices are. The ones you make when no one's watching, the ones you dismiss because they seem too insignificant to matter, but they do. In fact, those small decisions are shaping your future right now. You wake up in the morning and you have two options. Hit snooze or rise, skip breakfast or fuel your body. Open your phone or open your mind, stay silent or speak your truth. Every tiny choice is a vote for the person you're becoming, and it might not feel like it today. But the life you're living right now is a reflection of all those small decisions you made when it was easier to do nothing. That's the brutal part about life. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't slow down because you're tired or because you're scared. The world keeps moving, and you either keep up or you get left behind, and no one is going to beg you to chase your own potential. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. It's earned. Through discipline, through sacrifice, through patience, and through an unshakable belief that you are meant for more than the life you've been told to settle for. You can't fake growth. You can't pretend your way into confidence. You build it through action, through risk, through failing, learning, and showing up again, even when your legs are shaking. Because here's the truth: confidence isn't born from success. It's built in the moments you refuse to quit. You want to feel powerful? Start keeping the promises you make to yourself. You want to build self-respect? Start doing the hard things no one else wants to do, not for the recognition, not for applause, but because you said you would, because you owe it to the version of you that's buried underneath all that fear and self-doubt. That person inside you is real, and they've been waiting for you to stop making excuses, waiting for you to stop chasing approval, waiting for you to stop playing small. You don't need anyone else's permission to become the person you're meant to be. You just need your own. But understand this: it won't be easy. Growth never is. The moment you decide to level up, life will test you. It will throw distractions in your path. It will tempt you with comfort. It will fill your head with reasons why you should give up. That's how you know you're on the right path. Because if it were easy, everyone would be living their dream life. But most people won't, because most people trade long-term peace for short-term relief. They'd rather stay where it's safe, even if it's killing them slowly. They'd rather complain about their circumstances than take control of them. But you don't have to live like that. You get to choose a different story. You get to write your own ending, and the beautiful part is, you don't need to change your whole life overnight. You don't need to become a new person by tomorrow. You just need to win the next small decision. Then the next one, and then the one after that. Momentum is built in moments, and the moment you start moving, everything begins to shift. People will notice. Some will cheer for you. Some will envy you. And some will try to pull you back down because your growth reminds them of the courage they haven't found yet. Let them. Their opinion of you isn't your responsibility. Your responsibility is to the person you're becoming, to the life you're creating, to the peace you'll feel when you finally stop pretending you're okay with average. And no, you won't be perfect. You'll slip. You'll have days where you don't feel strong. That's part of it, but every time you get back up, every time you recommit, you're sending a message to your future: I'm not done yet, and one day you'll wake up and realize you don't recognize your old life anymore. The things that used to scare you won't hold any weight. The limits people try to put on you will seem ridiculous, and that voice inside you, the one that used to whisper you can't, will be drowned out by a stronger, louder one that says, watch me. That's what happens when you start taking yourself seriously, when you stop looking for shortcuts, when you start honoring the commitment you made to yourself. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for a perfect plan. Don't wait for the fear to leave. Move now, speak now, build now, because nothing changes until you do. And the life you're capable of, the one you keep picturing in your quiet moments, it's already yours. You just have to be bold enough to claim it.